In episode 41, I talked to Gastonia starter Ljay Newsome. The former Mariner discusses his global journey as he takes us through game day with Ljay.
Our guest today is from Mechanicsville, Maryland, drafted by the Seattle Mariners in 2015, pitched in the big leagues for the Mariners in 2020 and 2021, currently a starting pitcher for the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. I know a guy, and his name is Ljay Newsome. Ljay, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing well. How do you get your name? First and foremost, how do you get the name Ljay?
So my family, everyone has J's. So I have a brother, James. I have a sister, Jessica, and a younger sister, Ginger Lynn. And my dad is also James. He's James Sr. And my mom is Linda. So she has the only L in the family. So she wanted another L. So she put the L and the J together and added the AY.
There you go. I mean, I figured it had to be some background story like that because, of course, you don't see the name Ljay all around.
Yeah, it's different. I like it.
Now, you're from Maryland. Did you grow up with baseball all around you?
Yes. So, small town. There's always a bunch of baseball. Like Maryland has the Cal Ripken experience. I always went up there. But small town, you wouldn't think. You think of like Maryland, like crab cakes and football. But there's actually surprisingly decent amount of baseball around and good talent out there.
You grew up an O's fan?
No, I actually grew up a Yankees fan. Just history all about behind it and stuff like that. So.
Anyone in particular you grew up idolizing?
Uh, of course, Derek Jeter. Like I grew up watching him. He was a captain, shortstop. When I was younger, I played shortstop as well. And then I just found out pitching was way easier and way better for me, so I went the pitching route.
When did you make that transition from playing short to being a pitcher?
So through high school, I was always kind of doing half. I always hit. I was a good hitter, so I always stayed hitting. If I wasn't pitching, I was playing shortstop or third base. So my senior year, I kind of cut back a little bit, and I just strictly mostly did pitching.
Now, you were drafted by the Mariners 2015. What was that entire experience like for you getting drafted?
So it was awesome. It was something I never experienced before. It was shell shocking, and it happened so quick. I remember getting drafted, and then the next few days I had a flight out to Arizona, and everything was starting. So it happened quick for me. It was fun. It was a lot of learning going through. So it was fun.
Now, you pitched in the big leagues 2020 and 2021. Your first experience in the big leagues was during that 2020 shortened season because of COVID. How was that like for you? You know, finally getting to the show. I'm sure a lifelong dream for you, and then it's in this fashion where there are no fans in the stadium. Must have been an interesting experience.
Pitching it felt like the big leagues, but as in like the fan wise, you got the kind of like the audio fans in there. It was a little bit different from sitting in the bullpen and watching. But when I had my name called and I went in and I was pitching against the Dodgers, you're pitching against everyone. Everyone's the same. So I like Mookie Betts, all those guys were all on the other team. So it's still like the big league experience because when I'm out there on the mound, it's just me, the catcher, and the hitter. Like I don't really pay attention to the fans there or anything like around me. It's just me versus him. Let's go.
And then those Dodgers won the World Series. They're not taking that title away. So, like you said, I'm sure it felt real. It was real, even though of the weird circumstances around it.
For sure.
So you pitched at T-Mobile Park, obviously in Seattle. It's always been known to be a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Is that something you saw firsthand when you're pitching there?
I'm not quite sure if you say pitcher friendly. I think all the ballparks have their perks and non-perks. Like it could be because Seattle is known for the cold and sometimes like cold weather. It's not great for hitting wise. But I love the ballpark. It's a beautiful ballpark. I would uh, I would always go in early, kind of just we walked in through that 2020 year. We walked in through the back part of it. So you walked in through the outfield, center field, and you just got to see like from like out there and just enjoy it. It was awesome.
That's pretty cool, LJ. Pretty cool. Another thing that's pretty cool, you pitched in China. You got picked up by a team in China. last year while you were with Gastonia. How was the experience pitching in China? Did you know anything about the Chinese Baseball League?
So I learned probably in the off season. I had a buddy that went over there, and he was pitching, and it was Taiwan, and I was like, "Oh, how'd you do this, that?" And he was like, "Oh, like the scout reached out to me, and I was like, I never even knew they had like a baseball league." And then I looked into it, and then like my first year with Gastonia, like I seen Korean scouts there and Taiwan scouts came, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." Like I never knew that was like a possibility of when I signed with Gastonia. I was thinking like just basically getting back into affiliate, but when I saw those guys come, I was like, maybe it's a possibility. And then they texted me through WhatsApp, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And kind of the whole process started from there.
Then you went to Mexico. You pitched in the Mexican League at the start of this year. What went into that decision?
So I know it's a competitive league out there, and so I just wanted to kind of experience it. I've never been to Mexico, so I went out there and gave it a try, and kind of went from there.
You had good numbers with the baseball club last year while you were with Gastonia. Off to a great start this year, a 1.93 ERA in 14 innings. You've made three starts so far. What's going right for you on the mound?
So every year, I'm kind of like an old school pitcher. I like to throw strikes, get ahead, win my OOs, win my 1-1s, and usually when you're doing that, like good things happen. So that's kind of how I roll, and I just throw strikes, mix it up, in, out, up, down, all the pitches working. So that's kind of like how I like to do it.
When you were in the big leagues, I know you threw three pitches, four seam changeup and curveball. Did you add a sinker? Or sorry, a slider? Do you have a slider also?
So now it's kind of it depends the count. Like if it's early in the count, I'll throw one slower. It's just kind of like a get me over strike, and then the slider kind of ish. It's more of like more intent. Like I'm trying to throw it as hard as I can and just get like smaller movement, something to look more like the fastball instead of the curveball popping. So
So you do throw four pitches essentially now, including that slider, even if you get it, even if you try to pitch it as something else.
yeah, technically, yeah. But it's kind of like the catcher. I just have them put down two and just a generic. It just depends on the count when I decide to kind of throw either.
Now you just said you like to, get ahead, throw strikes. Justice Sheffield came on the podcast. He said the most important pitch is favorite pitch is strike one. Do you feel the same way, or do you also have, in addition to that belief, perhaps, do you have a favorite pitch that you throw?
I feel the same way. You get strike one. That's important. It's I don't know the exact stats, but once you get strike one, the batting average just goes down dramatically for the hitter. So
LJ, you get set below your belt when you're in the stretch. You're set like well below your belt, and it's pretty unorthodox. Is that just something that you started doing a while back and you've stuck with it, or does that potentially help you when dealing the ball?
so that came about when I was in the big leagues. I had my hands set up near my chest, where in the windup I have them set up there. So I do something funky with my wrist when I'm up there with gripping like the curveball or the changeup. So it was easy. Like in the big leagues, they picked that up. Something so small with like wrist adjustment that I was pitching against the Red Sox and they picked it up. So I put my hands down and now you can't really see what I'm doing. It's easier. I can grip the ball against my belt and you can't really see what I'm doing. So
So you were tipping. In other words, you were tipping a bit, and it helps not only with your grip but also hide where your fingers are on the ball or your
for
finger.
sure. Hmm.
That's very interesting. I'm surprised it doesn't happen to more pitchers because it's just very, very noticeable that you're set below the belt. Not a lot of pitchers do that.
Yeah, yeah. You can't really like see. So it's like they in the big leagues they pick up, they study you like any type of little movement you do, like they just pick it up and you don't even think like when I was younger I used to have my pointer finger outside of the glove and like a curveball I used to point it straight with a fastball I'd grip it in and you don't even think about that when you're pitching. So
Yeah, they have cameras everywhere now.
they do.
Advanced metrics. Uh, LJ, since pitching for the Mariners, you pitched in the Cardinals and Giants organizations. Are there any big differences you've noticed while pitching between two or maybe even all three organizations?
I'd say they're pretty much similar. It's just different coaches, basically. Some orgs have more technology. Like the Giants had a new facility in Arizona, and they had like a pitching lab and stuff like that. The Cardinals didn't have that. I think the Mariners were kind of transitioning to it. So I think it's all like different in how, I guess, much technology you have within that organization and not.
I'm sure you made a lot of connections along the way, whether it was in the big leagues with the Mariners, whether it was in China and Mexico with the Giants, Cardinals organizations. We have a segment on this podcast called Cool Connections. Whether it's a household name or whether it's someone who's helped you on your baseball journey, what is a cool connection you have made?
Oh, I've made a bunch of connections in the big leagues, kind of just talking about talking baseball, just different pitches. And like I remember one of them, I was with my pitching coach down there in Arizona my first year. It was I was in high school. I threw hard. I didn't have a changeup. I didn't really throw a curveball. I just threw the fastball past people. So I was like, okay, now I'm in pro ball. Now I'm going to need the changeup because everyone can hit the fastball. So I was talking to him and just kind of playing with like the grips and stuff and kind of projecting how I would release it and getting that side spin that you want on a changeup. And like while I'm a starter, so while I'm not pitching, I always have a ball in my hand. Like if you notice, I'm in the dugout, I'm always ball in the hand. I'm always gripping the changeup and kind of trying to perfect kind of like the release point and stuff like that. So I think that was like a big difference in my career that helped me out, and that was awesome how he kind of explained it. And yeah, so thankful for that.
That is a pretty cool connection. What drew you to Gastonia last year?
So Ian reached out. He was a pitching coach last year, and I played with him in high A and double A with the Mariners organization. And I was just coming off of surgery, and I was looking to play, and I was still rehabbing, kind of going back and forth. And it was close to home. I love like the North Carolina, South Carolina area, just big baseball town. So that's kind of what drew me to here.
Now we have a segment on the podcast, the Pep Talk segment. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Ooh, advice for pitching wise, I would say.
It could be pitching. You could do one pitching, one life. It could be just life advice, whatever advice you've gotten.
So I would say once like the Mariners like organization started learning like the OOs and 1-1s, like I knew it was important to get ahead, win your counts. But once they kind of put that in perspective, they it's just like it's eye opening how low like the batting average were. Like if you throw a 0 fastball right down the middle, the chances of them getting a base hit is very slim. So you get ahead, doesn't matter how you get a strike, but the batting average goes down and it's in a bad favor. And then you look back on your games that you pitch. If you're behind in the count, like most of the time, they're base hits. But if you're ahead of the count, like you get out. So it's crazy to think about it. You don't realize it until you go back and look at it, and I think that's like the most important thing, and I actually like realize it and just stick with it and just go after it.
Seems like you're someone who's really benefited from the information you've gotten. A couple instances on this podcast episode alone, you've brought up getting information from whatever organization you're a part of and just improving your craft because of it, right?
Yes, you gotta, as a pitcher, you gotta learn what you do best. Like I throw strikes, so I have to use that to my ability, which most teams are aggressive. So if I hit my spot, good spot, good pitch. Like most of the time, I get weak contact, but if I miss my pitch or I'm in bad counts, that's where I get hit. So I throw kind of like a ride ball that Mariners used to like the whole like every organization used to put like strings at the bottom of the strike zone. They wanted every pitcher to throw it low, get that low strike. I did that and I got hit a little bit because when I throw down there, my ride kind of equalizes and it's more of like flat. So if I throw it up in the zone, I get very good swing and miss on that. And just kind of like up, down is kind of how I kind of pitch. So like my release height's kind of funky. It's that low 3/4, kind of stepping off to the side now. So it kind of, as I release it, like 4'10", I want to say, somewhere around there now. It just kind of, it's like a ride ball. It just goes straight up. So
Similar to Ken Hassler, I know he came on the podcast, talked about how his rising fastball, it seems very similar, where of course you want to have that elevated and then you get the breaking ball low.
it's sneaky. It's changing the eye levels. It's baseball's always been like that. You change the eye levels, it's kind of hard to lay off. If you have a changeup going down the middle that looks like a fastball and it dives down, and then you throw the fastball that rides up, it's kind of hard to lay off those pitches.
Now, LJ, you're a starting pitcher. A lot of pitchers that we've had on, they talk about how they prefer starting pitching to coming out of the pen because they can have a routine. They know when they're pitching, they know the routine the day before the game day after, in terms of their rehab, getting ready for the next week. So, what is your routine since you're a starting pitcher?
Routine. I'm not too big on routine. Like I do my bullpen, like, so 2 days. So I'll go Saturday this week, and bullpen's going to be Wednesday. So I'll have that kind of set and planned. I'll work out and do all that the same, but there's no like, I show up, I have to eat this certain food or have to stretch a certain way. I just go on how like body feels. Like if I'm feeling great that day, I'll probably do a little less. Now, if I'm a little bit stiff, like I'll stretch out a little bit more. And there's no like, I got to wear a certain sock or anything like that. So
No superstition.
no, it's like I'm very easy going, flowing, and just chilling most of the time. So, and then for like starting and out of the bullpen was my first time in the big leagues. So I had so much adrenaline there. It's cool to kind of get your name called and you're like, hey, you're in, you're pitching next. You just get a rush of adrenaline. Now, when you know as a starter, you know you're pitching, that adrenaline's kind of lower until you get out on the mound and you can kind of settle it down a little bit. So
Now, last year, righties hit just 218 off you, lefties hit 288. Everyone talks about the lefty lefty advantage when you're a pitcher. How important is the righty righty advantage for you when you're on the mound?
so I have to get those out. Like I know, like lefties always hit more. I don't know if it's because sometimes like my pitches kind of ride and run and kind of go into their barrel, and I don't have nothing like hard into them. But lately, I've been kind of throwing like the sliders down and in. I'm getting it in on them. I have to throw it a lot farther in because if I go glove side fastball, like it sometimes runs back into the middle of the plate. As for like a righty, if I'm throwing it outside to him, if I throw it out far enough, it runs back and catches the corner. So it starts as a ball instead of like a lefty, it kind of sneaks back into the middle of the plate. So I just got to set the catcher up. If I go in, I have to have him go in. So if I do miss, it's on the black instead of the middle.
4th of July coming up. Are you excited that the team's going to be home for it? We're going to have some fireworks.
Yes, that's very exciting. So last year when I was here, we were away, I believe, and didn't like get the whole home field like fireworks after the game. You sit out there with your family and kind of just watch fireworks. So I'm excited about that this year.
Do you celebrate 4th of July every year? Is it an annual thing for you? Do you get excited when it comes and then just sit outside, watch the fireworks?
I do get excited. The fireworks are beautiful, and there's different shows. I've been to people that set off like all the kind of like big like skiing fireworks where there's like designs in the sky and stuff back in Maryland, and it's always cool to see like the finale and stuff, all that stuff. So it's exciting. It's fun. It's beautiful, and you just sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Are you a superhero fan by any chance?
Superhero. I never really got into big superheroes, but I watch like the Marvel movies sometimes here and there, but not really big.
I was going to ask because we big month of July, Superman coming out and the Fantastic Four movie. So I was wondering if you were excited for either or.
I didn't know. I just went to a movie yesterday. I went to the F1 movie, and I just saw the movie, like I guess like the reels before the movie come out, and I saw a couple of those. So I might have to check them out.
How do you like F1? I heard it was good.
It was very good, very good. I always I'm a big car guy, so I like cars, and just hearing like the Formula One cars going by, it's a different type of adrenaline. So it's fun. Like when I was with the Cardinals, I went down to the Miami F1 when I was rehabbing down there. It's a different type of experience. It's awesome, and just like the sounds you get, and it's just a cool environment.
Brady said I have to go with him to a car race, but I have to bring earplugs because it's so loud. He genuinely said, I was like, you're kidding, right? And he said, no, I have to bring earplugs if I go because it's that loud. Is that true?
Yeah, it's pretty loud. So was he talking about NASCAR here in Charlotte?
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. So I've never been to a NASCAR race, but I'm sure like I've heard people say it does get loud, and I think it's just that like the circle like dome and the cars are so close to like the fence, so those cars are pretty loud.
LJ, what's a rule change in baseball? If you had to implement one rule change, maybe you have some pitcher bias, but what is a change in baseball that you'd love to see? If you're
Ooh,
commissioner for a day.
commissioner for a day. Let's see. You know, I'm not even quite sure on that. Like I know I like quick games. I like to pitch fast. So I know like the clock and all that stuff, they're trying to make it quicker and stuff like that. But sometimes like the clock, they don't like work the clock correctly, or there's no like, oh, we're starting the clock at like this point. So I would say like come out with like a generic, this is when we start the clock, and kind of like right when you step on the rubber, maybe you start the clock and go, or something like that. But I'm just, yeah, yeah, because I've had people start the clock like before I got the ball back, and you get rushed a little bit, and it's just there's no like, I don't even know, there might be in the rule book that you start it this time, but then everyone starts it different. I don't know. So
You just want consistency. I think that's
yeah,
valid.
yeah, for sure.
What's the goal for you this season?
Goal for me is just like every year, just go out, have fun, enjoy playing baseball. We're playing a kid's game, so that's the most important thing, is go out there and have fun, and enjoy every game that I get to play.
Well, it seems like you're enjoying things this season. A 1.93 ERA over your first three starts. LJ, best of luck the rest of the season, and thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.